There was no turning back. Not anymore. It took me over a year to get on that plane. Work was taking volunteers every few months for temporary assignments in India. And after a few false starts, I gathered my courage. Now I was on my way to Chennai, where I would spend the next 3 to 4 months perpetually outside of my comfort zone. I worried that I would get sick from the food, or the water, or the mosquitoes. I refused drinks with ice cubes, and I carried bottles of filtered water home from work every day. I took my anti-malarial prescription religiously, and I used more bug spray than strictly necessary. I still got sick. Everyone does. But it was only a few days out of many, and I survived. I had never eaten Indian food before, and I wondered if the food there would be too spicy for me. I packed a 4-pound jar of peanut butter and some other emergency rations, just in case. I ate a lot of peanut butter, but I also acquired new tastes for puri masala, biryani, and chola puri. I was anxious about getting lost. I bought my first smartphone before the trip so that I could use the maps if I needed to. But I learned that all I really needed was a landmark near where I wanted to go, and I could take an auto rickshaw for just $1 or $2. I still appreciated having my phone for the peace of mind, though I never found myself wandering the streets entirely lost, as I once feared. I could take a week's vacation from work, and I planned to spend the time touring what's known as the Golden Triangle: Delhi, Agra, and Jaipur. But I couldn't find anyone to join me. I wondered if it would be safe by myself. But I didn't know if or when I would have this opportunity again, so I booked the tour. I marveled at the beautiful architecture and was delighted by wild monkeys and parakeets. I rode an elephant to the Amber Fort. I watched an impromptu puppet show. I bought tea at the spice market in Old Delhi. I walked inside the Taj Mahal. Then I met some other expatriates who wanted to go scuba diving. Would it be safe? Were there sharks in India? What if I drowned? I completed my open water scuba certification and went diving for 2 days in Pondicherry. There were no sharks. I didn't drown. Before I left the States, I was concerned about connecting with my new coworkers. This worry turned out to be entirely unfounded. They welcomed me with warm hospitality and generosity. I began several wonderful friendships. Akila took me on a tour of Chennai's local landmarks and gave me a tiny Ganesh figure to carry in my car back home. Krishnaveni showed me a Hindu temple, bartered with a vendor for my sari, and invited me to her home, where her mom had made my favorite Indian food. Surya taught me how to wear my sari and introduced me to Indian movie theaters, where they take intermissions and clap and cheer when Bruce Wayne finally appears as Batman on the screen. By the time I returned home, my comfort zone had grown at least a little. I lived on the other side of the world and didn't succumb to a mysterious disease. I didn't get lost and disappear forever. My taste buds were either burned off or I had developed a more diverse palate. I could trade in my Indian SIM card, but I'd keep the smartphone and the peace of mind. I used my scuba certification to go diving in Hawaii. I couldn't find anyone to share in that adventure either, but now I knew I could find a community once I arrived. It would be fine to set out on my own. And this time, I even saw some sharks.